It's great to see you back here. Today we're talking about Section 8, chord reference charts from Ted Greene's Chord Chemistry. We're literally walking through the book page by page, word by word, chord by chord, etc. And if you want to follow along with us, you can find the book here in the link, the card above, or the book and the link in the description. It's exactly the same book. So when you flip to page 21, in part 9E from this video right here, it will be exactly the same chords that we're working on today. Suspended chords, and we're using A and E root notes. First voicing is position number 2, we have the 4-5 root 5. Second voicing, we have an optional note which is circled. We have the second position again, still A sus, and then we have the root 4, 5, root 4. Or we could just use the fourth finger and then run from root to, the 5, the root again to the 4. Good option there. Another one that's right here in second position is the second, let's see, we're using 5, 1, 4, 1, and then we could use that A note in the bass if we wanted to. And then we are going to head on up to position number 9, and we're looking at 12, 4, 5, and then 1 on the top. A sus again on position number 7, we're looking at the 4 in the bass this time. So what I'm going to do is use the 4, and then the root, and then the 5, and then the root on the top. It's a cool sound when we got that, when we have that root in the bass instead of having the third in the bass. All right, so 9th position, again, we're headed on up to position 12. This time we're starting on the 4 again. We have the 4, the 5, the root, and then the 5 on the top. Jumping down to position number 2, we have 5, or I'm sorry, fret 5, but the root note, the 4, the 5, and then the root note. We could place the 4 on top again if we wanted to as an option, but we have those 4 notes that we can deal with right there. Position number 9, it looks like we're on fret 12, so we have the 5, the 5, and then we're running up to the root, the 4, 5, 4, flatted 7th apart, and then we have the 5, and then the root. Totally cool sounds here. Position number 7, we're looking for root note, 5, root, and then 4, and we could use the 5 in the bass. It would still qualify as an A sus chord. E sus, we're looking at position number 7, so we have the 5, the 1, the 5, 1, the 4, and the 5. So we have a 6 note chord here that we can use if we want to. A sus, again, is position number 10, so we have the root 4, root 5. Now we're starting to open up the voicings a little bit. He's asking us to jump and skip a string and get up there to the top 2 strings. So root 4, root 5. Again, position number 10, so we're on 12, so we have the 5, 4, root 5. So we're doubling that 5 here. Good stuff. A sus again on position number 9. So we're looking for 4. And then we have the 5, the root, and then the 5. This is a particularly interesting chord. So we'll just go ahead and add that A note in the bass. So we'll be sure that we know where the A note is here. Yeah, it's a great sound. We have the E sus again on position number 7, which is going to use the root, the 5, the 4, and the 3. Think jump, Panama or something, whatever. root 5, root 4. You could place the 5 in the bass and thicken up the sound a little bit if you wanted to, because it's an optional tone. And then we have position 5, A sus. We're using the root, the 4, the 5, and then the root again on the top. A sus again on position 5. We're using the 5, the root, the 4, and then the 5. I'm going to do all of that, accomplish all of that with a third finger triple stop. A sus once again, we have the same thing, but with the A, instead of the root note being on top, we're using the root on the bottom. So we have the root, 5, root, and 4. A sus again, fret 5, so root 5, 4, and then 5. E sus, position number 9, so we're looking at fret 12, which is a 4 in the bass, and then we're running up to the 5, and then 4, 5, and then 5 again, and then root. So we're experiencing this whole step on the bottom, and then a perfect fourth on the top. Really nice open sounding chord with that strong fourth on the top. A sus on position number 7, we have the A sus would be the 5, the root, the 4, and then the root again. So there's all of this. All of these really cool angular sounds. A sus on position 5, we're using the root, the 5, the 4, and then the root on the high E string. It's really helpful to get that right hand kind of using the thumb, the index, middle, and ring fingers, so that we can jump through all of those strings and skip the ones where we need skipping. A sus is going to be position 5 once again, but this time we have the root 5 root, the root 5 root. I'm changing the finger approach because what I've got to do is a root 5 root and then jump up here to the top, so he's displaced that 4 that was here earlier on to an octave higher, which is very cool. E2, let's take a quick look at this. So this is to sus2, so there's a root on position 7, 5, root, and then 2. A sus2 or A sus2 is root 5. They're stacked fifths right here, right? So root 5 and 5 of 5 is the 2 or the 9, but we'll call it the 2. Position 2, we're going to run down to the root note, the 5, the 2, and then the 5 again if you wanted to play it. Yes. Position 7, we're using 7, so that's root note, 5, and then 9, which is the same 9 that we did here. Right, so you know that song, where that's coming from. So we have the 7th position again. We have the root, 5, root, 2, and then 5. Or we could also grab that 5 in the bass for a thickened sound. The next one's a pretty exciting one. Position 4, we're looking at the root on fret 5, and then I'm not sure, probably we'd want to use the root, 5, and root, and then the 2 on the top, right, with this fingering. And it's great because you've been joining me on our morning live streams, and the live streams they're going to happen for a year until next year, right, about this time. join me every morning, 5 days a week from on YouTube, right here on YouTube, the Jason Carey Guitar live stream. It's 7:30 every morning, and it lasts for a half an hour at least, typically. All right, so next one is going to be on position 2, E2, right? So E add 9 or E Sus2. I'm not going to say add 9 because there would be a 3 in the chord, right? So there's a root, a 5, a root, and then a 9 on the top, or a 2 on the top. Position 9 is going to be, let's see, this is the Sus2 right here, or A Sus2. I guess it's A2. He writes it A2, but it is A Sus2. We're suspending the use of the third for the 2. So root 2, 5, root 2, 5, 4, 5. No, sorry. Root 2, 5, root 5. Great sound. A2, we're going to use the thumb on this one. We're shuffling down to position number 4. Thumb, so it's the root note under the thumb. 5, root, ooh, this is going to be a real tricky one. So root note, 5, root, 2, and 5 on the top. Really great sound. And the final one for today is the root, or for the, I'm not sure today, but the final one for this session is going to be root 5, 5, 2. So we've got to get those fingers to be non-contiguous on contiguous strings that are skipping to the middle strings. Now, if you notice that an A sus is the same as the D chord with the third lowered to the second. So an A sus would be root 5, root 4. If we called that a D chord, it would be the root 2, 5, root. So that's the second. For lack of a better name, this will be called a D2 chord, also A major 7 sus, and A major 9 sus equals E7 11. And there are some pluralities here that we can talk about and discuss in the beginning of next session, because next session we'll be getting into major 7th chords. I really love exploring these chords, and I really love exploring them on the guitar, and I'm glad you're here. And I hope that you have a wonderful practice session. And until we meet again, happy picking.